Do you want to say it this time, or
No, that's you.
Welcome to Nailed It. It's just Xavier and I today. Xavier and me, Xavier and us.
Or Maddox.
Yeah.
Oh. So, I started catching up on Game of Thrones.
Yes. Wait, you're just going to bust right into it?
Yeah. I mean, so, might as well. So, when it comes to the story, because I don't care about spoilers by this point, and because it's been so long that, and I know I got on Nate's case about it, because I know that's what you're going to bring up. But the thing about Game of Thrones is that when you go out into the real world and not in your own personal cave,
right,
everybody and their mom is going to talk about it.
Right.
And as a person that is naturally curious about certain things, I'm going to ask questions.
Right. So
it just to the point like, and plus you can't go on social media without, seeing it.
Right. Exactly.
So
what you're saying is that you're Game of Thrones curious? Is that what you're saying?
This is why we don't do the two of us. I don't have a buffer. Just don't have a buffer.
I know, but like, if you think about it,
no.
How much does Nate talk, anyways?
Not really. A lot, but he's an extra body for me to bounce my sorrows off of.
Right, it's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Anyways, but yeah, so I'm on, I think 1 or 2 episodes in the season 6. But me knowing how it kind of just like, according to some people, just takes a hard left.
Right.
I'm more okay with just going and storming through it and seeing if I can catch those telltale signs of how it got there.
Right. I would say in most things in life, what does it really matter if it gets spoiled for you, unless it's like one of those movies that the whole premise of the movie is you have to figure it out
a mystery?
Like a mystery type thing.
It's enjoying the experience, I guess. In a way, it's like, how do I put it? So if I'm watching a TV show, and the TV show is coming out weekly, which I hate watching weekly. It bothers me. I like to just watch it all in one
You like
sitting.
binge.
I like to binge it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. If I'm watching it weekly, I want to get it as if I'm reading a comic book or reading a book. It's just, I don't want you to tell me, hey, do you remember in such and such book when the main character just got shot and nobody knew where the bullet came from, and then you find out it's totally his dad, Jeff?
What? It was his dad, Jeff, the whole time?
Yeah, it's like,
why didn't you tell me?
Like,
I mean, you did tell me.
I'm stuck on chapter 3. You're telling me everything? I don't want to know everything.
Right.
So, I mean, that's fine, but this is just like, Game of Thrones has been around for so long, and that it's such like a hard staple with a lot of people's entertainment.
Right.
That I'm just like,
That's kind of how I am with most spoiler type things.
Yeah.
Unless, like, when it comes down to it, maybe sometimes I know what's going to happen, but I just enjoy the journey anyways. Mm-hmm. Just like how I judge a movie. I don't judge it in between. I don't try to guess who did what in between or whatever. I just watch the story that they want to show me.
Right.
And then I say that was good or bad at the end. Mm-hmm. Or why didn't they do this? I don't turn to the person, why didn't they do this? Turn to the movie.
I do that when I know that I hate the thing that I'm watching.
Right.
Like, that's the only time I ever do it, because like this doesn't feel like a good thing to me, so I'm just going to critically overanalyze it.
Right.
So, grabbing your drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just the little things that are just going on, I'm enjoying it. It's like I know what happens in the last 3 episodes. Last 2 or 3 episodes that came out. I was like, all right, that's fine. It's like, okay, cool. Family, fighting. Huh? So that's all I've really heard. It's like essentially what that is.
I feel like, in many ways, since Game of Thrones has been going on for so long, and there's so many different characters, and so many different characters died, it almost turned into white noise when people talk about it.
Yeah.
In many ways. Like, you kind of get this little hint of what's going on in the story. There's little plot points that you hear that, but everything else on who dies and what scene they die in is just kind of...
Because it's like the hugest thing of that season, right? So, again, it's been long enough. We're on season 8, right? Technically. Season 5, crap. If you're like me, you've either binged it or you're binging it right now.
Right.
End of season 4? No, end of season 5, Jon Snow gets killed.
Right.
I knew that he died. I didn't know how he died.
Right.
And that's the most interesting part to me. Is like, I want to know how these characters lose their lives. Granted, Jon Snow comes back like 3 episodes later.
Right.
But still, it's like, oh, cool. These people that you thought that you trusted totally just like Julius Caesared them.
Yeah.
Real hard. And that's like, okay, I expected that turncoat type of deal from certain characters, but I didn't expect it from some of the others.
Right.
Even though the intentions were like plainly clear, and I should know better because nothing is sunshine and rainbows in this show.
Everything is sunshine and rainbows in this show.
Not at all. There's an entire episode where, like, granted you're watching it from different perspectives. And do you ever feel like you only care about one person's story, like during like the whole thing? Like, you should care about the whole, but it's like I'm looking at it and it's like, all right, cool. This is an episode where we're gonna have some. This happened. I watched all of season 5. I forgot Bran was even in the story.
Yeah, I think for the most part, everybody forgets that he's in the story, and then it's true though.
Yeah.
Like he appears, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's right. He's got something going on.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It takes you like a few, like they show him on screen, and then it takes you a few seconds to go, what was he doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how little of importance he is to the show.
Yeah.
Is because, I mean, even though he is the main reason why everything is going on from the very get-go, at the same time, he could not be in it, and it would all be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only reason why he's in it is to create more plot in the new episodes that are out now.
Okay.
And honestly, they could have done it a different way. They could have not had him at all.
Right, right. No, because, was it, like, I am tired of looking at the Lannisters because they're boring. Their entire plot is the same. We only care about us, and nobody else matters. And you guys care about your family so much that each one of your family member dies, and there's nothing that you can do about it. But you're going to continue to let the world burn for things that you've done and what your family has done to get to this point, right?
Yeah, I understand that. I think at the same time that their attitude is pretty great because it's not good, but it just kind of furthers the plot of why do we not like these people.
Oh yeah, no, I know I don't like them.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to tell me again. They're not going to pay for my rent and have me enjoy what's going on. I just, all right, Cersei Lannister, that's awesome. You got paraded through the streets, amazing.
Right.
You know, you kind of you did that so because you're a mother and you're trying to get back to your child. Makes sense. I can sympathize with that. You know, granted, I'm not a father, but still, it's like you do anything to see your kid. That's cool. And then you just have a murder boner, and you're gonna kill everybody.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. Is that they want to show how far she is willing to go if you just tick her off enough. Like, who?
She did that to herself by proxy,
Right.
and which is great because it's like it's the first instance of part of my friends, the talk shit get hit initiative, where she set up the entire like clergy, the faith conglomerate,
Right.
and as soon as she gets it high up and established, because she's trying to take down certain people, she gets hit with her own whip.
Yeah, that type of stuff tends to happen. Like, usually what takes down somebody is something that they set up in the first place.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have no proper experience in this type of fantasy setting. It's actually like one of my least favorite fantasy settings.
I will say this. There's a few movies that I was thinking of developing that take place in that time frame off of actual events. And I thought it would be better to take that time event and just change it into a more modern version of the same thing that happened back in history.
So like the 1997 version of Romeo and Juliet starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
No. Something good. That was terrible. That was a terrible movie.
I think it's a great movie.
I would have been fine with it if they still weren't speaking in this is in thous.
I thought that was innovative.
I think that's not innovative. I think if you're going to go through that whole effort to create a specific Romeo and Juliet story, change the verbiage, because you lose the audience.
But they do that with like half of the... Anyways, we're getting off topic. We'll come back to that.
But anyways, the reason why I was thinking of changing some of the older stories into something new was because that time period is boring to watch. And it is very uninteresting.
For some people.
For some people. But that's your view of people, the amount of people that are really interested in, it is so minute.
Don't tell that to the Lord of the Rings fans.
That is a different thing.
But it's similar time periods.
Right. There's only been a few actually successful franchises with that time period type piece. And it is basically Lord of the Rings. You could throw it's basically Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And that's only because it's an epic tale. Most of the things is just like King Arthur.
Gladiator's pretty good.
Gladiator is good. I was also going to throw in 300, but 300 is not really a good movie. 300 is just very cool slow motion scenes.
Yeah.
That with people yelling, "This is Sparta."
I want to watch that movie with every slow mode scene just sped up. Does that like reduce the movie by like half an hour?
I would think so. And it's a terrible movie. For all of you people, hold on.
Oh,
This is perfect. For all of you people that say 300 is the best movie of all time, you're wrong. You're very wrong. But you are also the same people that think that Avatar is a great movie, and we're not talking about the one M. Night Shyamalan. We're talking about the Blue Creature ones. It's a terrible movie. It's Fern Gully. That's it. It's Fern Gully in space. I'd rather watch Fern Gully because at least some of the characters are likable. That's my rant.
I mean, that's fair. The same people that like 300 are probably the same people that like Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, your shirt.
Yeah, Batman vs. Superman, man.
It's terrible.
Why is it terrible? It's a free shirt.
I mean, I guess. It's the same people that like really like The Watchmen. Essentially what I'm saying is that I do not like Zack Snyder. He ruins my comic book movies.
So, a little bit off subject. The Watchmen, I'm very interested in the TV show.
The HBO show, it looks like it takes place after what the movie was. That's what it looks like.
Right. I don't know.
And I don't know enough about the Watchmen comic. It's like I owned the movie through my dad buying it, and I watched it a couple of times. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I feel like I'd enjoy it more if I read the graphic novel.
I have had many chances to see The Watchmen, and I've made it 30, 40 seconds into it, and I just lose interest. For whatever reason. Also, I feel the same way about 2001 Space Odyssey. Every time I try to watch it, everybody says it's a great movie. I feel like it is a 3.5 hours just to get to the first 30 seconds of the movie.
Right. So, speaking of like that type of deal, and we're just on the tangent of movies. Was it last Friday? I got sick like right at the beginning of work, so I ended up coming home, and I was like, cool. I don't know what to do with myself all day.
Right.
So I ended up throwing on The Last Jedi because it was on Netflix.
Okay.
I'm sitting there. I'm watching it. I'm not really paying attention. I get about an hour and a half into it because everybody knows. No, it's not an hour and a half. It's about an hour. And I got up to the part where Luke was starting to train Rey, and she was in like that meditation business or whatever.
Right.
And I look at him, like, this is boring, and I turn it off. the movie, it's like, I'm more heavily invested into the Star Wars lore because other people can make it sound interesting.
Right.
Though the first 3 movies, not the prequels, but the one starring, right, you know, all the cast is good, I look at him, it's like, it's not interesting to me. Anything that is mainly Star Wars related is not interesting to me for some reason. But I do enjoy its lore.
I feel like when it comes down to the movies, they have a terrible time of creating a consistent storyline that makes you want to kind of... And also, some of the characters they introduce, they're so shallow that you don't really have interest in them in many ways.
In these new ones, or just in general?
In the newer ones. Some of even the older ones. Some of the characters where you're just like, okay, I understand. He's basically a background character.
Well, because, like, I look at Rey, I see Rey, I like the character archetype, but it is just a redo of Luke.
Right.
With better acting.
Yeah.
And...
But yeah, I get it. All it is all they've been doing is basically taking the original 3 and remaking them into a slightly different like...
Right. Yeah, you're not wrong, but I can see, like, why they do it. It's like, if we can have, like, similar plot beats, and we just show it to the new generation who doesn't really, or kind of like those specific assholes, like, I can't watch that old movie, it's super old and gross and all that.
I'll tell you this. Most of the kids have seen Star Wars. Because their parents love Star Wars. So they usually grow up with an appreciation of Star Wars.
Right.
Some of them, I know there's a generation that prefers actually the 1, 2, 3 over the 4, 5, 6. Just because that's more of what they grew up with.
Yeah. No, and I get that. That makes sense. The only things that are good from the first 3 the prequel trilogies is Darth Maul, the saber fight on Mustafar. I really enjoyed that fight. It was well choreographed. Anakin Skywalker screaming like a punk, and one thing in the Clone Wars. You take your pick.
Yeah, I think
probably the Geonosis fight.
The funny thing is a few things that I don't like about the 1, 2, 3 is, well, one, Anakin and Padme. I've said this a million times. They were like garbage in that movie. In all the movies. Just annoying. R2-D2 and 3CPO were also kind of annoying in those movies. Like, 3CPO was comic relief.
3CPO.
Huh?
3CPO.
3 CPOs.
Oh, God.
3CPO was in there as like a comic relief, that didn't need to be in there. There's the part where he got disassembled and then he was put onto one of the robots.
Was that episode 1?
No, it was like episode, I'm going to say 3, where they were, yeah, exactly. You don't even remember that. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for saying that in that way, because you don't even remember how dumb it was where they were in with all the other droids in the assembly line, and 3CPO's head gets put onto another one of their. I remember that. I remember him going into like a battle and saying, right,
die.
Right. He kept going, oops, sorry, because the robot was, was shooting people and he wasn't doing it.
Right.
So it was just, okay, I don't. Yeah.
How? Okay, so. To kind of connect the last 2 topics that we've been...
And then also, really quickly, having Anakin Skywalker build 3CPO was really annoying. He can build 3CPO, nobody else can, and he can do all this stuff, but he's... I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
So, how do you feel about the people that write the script or whatever for Game of Thrones, knowing these last couple episodes? How do you feel they're going to do writing new Star Wars stuff?
Terrible.
Yeah?
Well, honestly, it depends on who's writing it and how much they are a big fan of the series.
Well,
here's the big thing. The ending of Game of Thrones right now is being written by not the original writer. The original writer of the books, he helped craft basically all the way to this point. The last season is basically, he's like, that's not the direction I wanted to take the book. He's not even going to finish the book.
It's weird. I've heard rumors that he's already finished the last book or the last 2 books, and he made a deal with the writers of the show saying that that they wanted him to wait until they were done with the series before he releases the books.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure there's a huge cash grab in here somewhere. But it doesn't seem like he is involved with the last season writing.
Again, I wouldn't know, because I'm so used to the... when it comes to watching anime and stuff like that, and especially watching like adaptations of your favorite superheroes and stuff like that, things change. Like, for instance, Full Metal Alchemist is an anime I think I want to say came out in 2003 or 4. I could be wrong. And a lot of the times, the anime finishes before the manga because it's running at the same time as the manga.
Right.
Right? So then they're like, okay, cool. We're at this point. We're clearly nowhere near the end. How do we start making stuff up? And they do it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Full Metal Alchemist 1, in my opinion, is a good way of it doing it in an alright way, versus like Soul Eater, where they left it open-ended as assuming that we can go somewhere else with this. And then they just don't.
I mean, here's the thing. It all depends on the writers and if they can actually come up with a storyline, or if they're just going off the formula of what they assume he's going to do or say or do.
Mm-hmm.
So there's...
Do, say, or do?
Do or say.
Do-si-do.
Do-si-do. Because there's writers out there that are very creative and they can come up with their own storylines and they come up with their own universes and everything like that. Like the original creator of the Game of Thrones. The guy that wrote all the books.
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I don't remember his name.
How?
I just don't.
Alright.
It's not important to me.
I guess. I mean, it's important enough that you watch the show it's based off of.
Right, but I watched the show. Anyways, his
name is in the credits.
How many of the writers do you actually pay attention in the credits?
Depending on who they are.
Right, exactly. So, there are certain shows, there's certain things, writers can be either extremely creative or they're just, nah. They just get the job done. And right now, the people that they have finishing up the season are just let's just get the job done. We gotta wrap up a whole bunch of loose ends, and we only have 6 episodes to do it. So let's figure out how to cut corners and make people, we want this ending, so how do we get to this point? And so they write a blah.
You put it on a rocket ship that is able to jump through hyperspace.
Right.
That really only has to go all of 5 feet.
Right. Pretty much. Well, it's also like, yeah. There's many times where I will watch a final series of a show, and they have all these loose ends to you're like, what's going on with this character, and then they just stretch it out, and then you get to the last 2 episodes, and you're like, okay, they're going to tie a whole bunch of stuff in those last 2 episodes. The episode before, it's just a random episode, and you're just like, okay. So you're saying you're going to wrap this whole thing up in a...
Give me an example that's not Game of Thrones.
How I Met Your Mother? Right off the top of my head?
It kind of wrapped it up.
They wrapped it up, but in the very last episode. Very, 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 very last episode. The episode before was a random episode that almost didn't have anything to do with How I Met Your Mother. It was like one of the ones where they go, back when I first met Barney, whatever.
No, I thought the second to last episode was all about Tracy.
It was, at the very last part of it, was about that. It was like the 3 or 4 episodes leading up to it were nothing. They didn't do anything. And you're just like, okay, we're getting close to the end. When are they going to start wrapping things up? And then it was nothing. Throw in an episode that was leading to the end, and then nothing, and then you have the last 2 episodes. And you're just like, the last episode, yes, the second to last episode, they did an episode about Tracy, or whatever, what she was doing. Which you're just like, half of the season should have been about that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're about it. But, I don't know. Again, I'm fine. I would like an entire show just from Tracy's perspective, but that's just me.
Right.
Because, I mean, I like her character. She's like Ted, but not Ted.
Right. But I don't think they could sign that actress or whatever. That's probably part of the reason. And, yeah, they tried to do their own thing, and they just failed miserably.
Anyways, and what's next on the docket?
The docket?
I'm still waking up.
Oh, that's okay. This is mostly going to be, I guess, it's going to be a movies and TV show type thing.
Absolutely. I've not played a game in like the last 2 weeks.
I mean, there's gaming news. The gaming news is like Disney is basically going to be journeying with Hulu.
The New World Power.
Yeah, the New World of Power. Disney basically took their ball and was like, we're going to go from Netflix over to Hulu. So basically, I don't know because if you have, what I read is if you have Hulu, you might be granted access to both streaming services.
What, to both Netflix and Hulu?
No, to Hulu and Disney.
Is there anything on Disney that I wanted to watch?
Disney's got all the Marvel shows
They're going to be
going over.
The Marvel, I don't care too much about them. That's the problem. It's like
Disney's got Marvel and Star Wars, and they're gobbling up everything. Garbling. That's terrible. Anyways, Disney's got those shows, and Star Wars is supposed to have its own show.
That's like 2 so far.
Yeah, but they're supposed to have another one of their
another like cartoon one or another live action
show.
How are they going to afford that?
It's Disney.
Oh, yeah. That's right. World power.
Right.
They're taking over the world, right? Like, piece by piece?
Well, slowly. So they have the Star Wars stuff. They have all the Marvel stuff. Loki has his own TV show coming out.
What? Tom Hiddleston's having his own show?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
That might be worth it.
So that's going on in that world. But we also have also in the movie realm. Sorry. Back to video games. I was going to say. And PlayStation announced that they're not doing E3 this year.
I think they announced it a while ago.
They did that. But it was just basically because last year when they came there, they kind of got booed because all they were just saying was, we're coming out with the same stuff we talked about last year. And
which is crazy because, like, every time I, like, wake up in the morning and I go on my YouTube, there's, like, 4 or 5 different video trailers from them.
Right.
Specifically.
Right.
But they're like, we want to keep you guys updated as we go, and then, like, them not going to E3 is not that big of a deal, though they've been there for, like, ever, but they just show the same stuff, plus they have their own little expo. That's
their thing, is they said, one, we have our own expo, and 2, E3 is almost getting to the point where it's like a newspaper. The information that comes out there is almost too late.
Yeah.
Like,
that makes sense.
Like, I don't want to read a newspaper anymore because the information I read about was from the day before, which I already heard all about that day. Like, it's not like I can't get information nowadays. Information comes from everywhere. If I want to find out about something, I can find out the instant it happened instead of like a day or two later.
Right.
And that's kind of the reasoning behind E3 is they're just saying, it's a once a year thing that by the time everything comes out, we do all the prep work for everything, you guys already know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, because it'll get leaked by somebody.
Right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Sony, you do you. You've been...
Right.
So far, you've been fine.
I would say that it might be the end near for E3 type stuff. Because if PlayStation takes their ball and goes somewhere else, because they have their own thing, because basically all these little places have their own little ecosystems, and as an Xbox player, I don't care as much about the PlayStation games that come out, and then as a PlayStation player,
no, see, that's where you're wrong. I'm a video game player.
You're a video game player.
The Xbox has not shown me anything to rebuy an Xbox.
So as a PlayStation player, you're less likely to be interested in the Xbox stuff because for the most part, a lot of the Xbox stuff is mingled with the PlayStation stuff.
Right.
And you're just like, well, I prefer PlayStation. I'm going to play the PlayStation version of it instead.
Right, but if there's a specific Xbox exclusive that catches my eye, for instance, like when I first bought an Xbox One, it was for Killer Instinct, and at the time Scalebound was going to be an exclusive for the Xbox One. That was enough for me, like, cool, that's what I want to play that game, it looks cool, I want to buy it, and then it gets dropped and put in development hell, and I'm like, alright, cool, I don't need this Xbox anymore. Like the Nintendo Switch at the moment, I think it has a couple of games that I'm super interested in. I'm thinking about picking one up. It's whether or not a game is interesting enough. If I'm not gonna buy a console just I want to play the new indie game that looks really
Right.
Iron Bread is not enough to get me to want to play your dumb game or system.
Right. Yeah.
And when it comes to like the Xos, PlayStation is just they're doing fine at the moment. They are either first or second in the console race right before the new gen drops, which we're pretty due for. So it's like coming next year or the year after. So it's on its way.
Right.
Excuse me. And if Sony decides, cool, we don't want to be at E3, Microsoft, and I'm not trying to be rude, but Microsoft, being the Americans that we are, is like, it's our time to shine. It's like, stop, John Microsoft. We don't need you to be. It's like the all-in-one home entertainment console.
Right.
No, so you can attach your cable box. Who has a cable box? Internet. Stop.
Right.
The Xbox is boring.
Well, the Xbox was originally trying to. They're so ridiculous at Microsoft sometimes because they're just like, we want to create this all exclusive, all in one.
Yeah.
Unit. And people are like,
why?
We just want to play video games.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, but you can watch movies on it.
No.
And you can experience live chat with your friends. And they're just like,
I have a phone for that.
I just want to play video games.
Yeah.
But now you can stream all your football shows and everything like that in a smaller screen with half of it taken up by Microsoft advertisement. I just want to play video games. But now you can watch it with your friends, a movie, and half the screen is cut out by blah blah blah. I
want to play games.
Just where's the new Halo?
Oh boy. Do you think that Microsoft will learn from their mistakes after they got pretty much shut down? Sony actively made fun of them when the PS4 dropped, saying that our console plays video games.
Right. Microsoft is finally at the point where, like, oh, it seems like people just want to play video games and everything.
Think so.
The problem is so there's a group of them that are just like, I think, I don't know. I've heard from Jim at the water cooler. You know water cooler Jim? Yeah, I know water Jim. Everybody knows. He's always by the water. You know. Yeah. I don't understand what he's doing over there all the time. Anyways, he was telling me that his kids just want to play the Xbox and they just want to play the games on it, and they just want new levels and stuff like that, and they're just wondering when some of that stuff is coming out. And Jim was saying that's just ridiculous. He's like, I'm trying to stream like my shows on it, and they want to play video games. I don't understand this. So I was thinking about it, and I was talking to my nephew, and he said he wanted to just play video games too on it, and I was just like, yeah, but it does all this other stuff, and so I thought maybe we should focus more on video games. But maybe we should focus more on video games. Yeah, but you're getting this information from Jim from the water cooler.
Dave's an acting guy.
That guy's crazy.
I'm gonna have to stop your scenario here. Do you know what they did to the Xbox? They tried turning it into a cell phone. A console cell phone. Right, because they're so good at the cell phone industry. You want me to be able to stream and play video games at the same time. You want me to be able to chat live with my friends when I'm doing... I have a phone. Right. I want to play video games. Video games? I bought your console to play video games. Right. No, I understand. Why are you telling me that, hey, did you know that you could Skype and stuff? I don't care. Right. I want to shoot things. I want to hit something with the sword. I want to be able to not do that. Right. No, I understand. Yeah. Yeah. No. I feel like there's a group in Microsoft that understand that, and then there's the people that are above them that are just like John Microsoft. Right. We need to make sure that everything is accessible. And you're just like, this is Xbox. Let me just say this. You are the only thing that Microsoft has that has actually lasted when it actually comes to a device besides Windows.
Everything else you have
telling
created.
me you didn't like their phones?
The Zune.
Oh no, that died.
The Zune died.
It did have a couple of like.
I will say this:
crazy supporters.
The Zune, I actually liked it way better than the other thing.
It was just a fat MP3 player.
But yes, it was. But it organized the stuff I wanted in the way I wanted to organize it. But the problem is that's what I want. Everybody else just wants a button that they push, and they just go doot.
Yeah.
Right.
Does it make the sound of doot?
And then they go bloop bloop.
Oh Lord! Continue with your.
Well, here's the difference between like Microsoft people want to dig deep and change things. You know, they want to go through the root directory and they want to be able to change things at a fundamental level in micro changes. Other companies like Apple, they just say push this button, and it is what it is. Push this button and it turns on. And there are certain things where I'm just like, I just want the push button where it turns on. Like my iPhone. I use the iPhone because you just push the button and it turns on. The apps, they work.
So you're telling me that Apple products are for lazy people?
No, I'm saying that Apple products, for the most part, work. Microsoft products will work, but there's always like a workaround that you have to do it, and then it comes out fundamentally flawed because engineers are doing it instead of people that make things simple, and you have to take what they give you, and they give you so many creative things that you can do with it that you go, okay, I want to make this so it actually works properly for me.
Right.
When certain Apple products come out and you're just like, boom, it works, it's intuitive. That's the problem that they've had with their phones and the Zune and any other product that you guys have been trying to come out with, Microsoft. It's all fundamentally, I want it to do everything, and you can micro change it. Xbox is the only thing you have. Stop trying to make it do everything. Just make it play video games.
But you want to watch TV shows, right?
I will.
No, but you want to live stream everything, right? You want to be able to face chat with your friends.
First of all, face chat. Nobody wants face chat. Everybody, like ever since I was a kid. Hold on, this is going on me. Ever since I was a kid, they said, you know, you would watch shows and stuff like that. The showing of the future is, I can video chat with somebody. I can have somebody video chat on my watch or whatever device you can think of. Nobody wants that. I don't want to see somebody. Okay, video chatting is like listening to somebody in the bathroom make noises. And you're just like, or talking on the cell phone in the bathroom. You're just like, I don't want that. I don't want to see the person. I don't want to, I just want to hear, I just want to get the information and get out. Most people don't even want to talk on the phone nowadays, let alone, they just want a text message. Just text messaging the information. If it's longer than a paragraph, then talk to me on the phone. But for the most part, I just want to know who, what, where, and when. That's it. Tell me that, everybody. And then just, I'm done.
The Dave rant. It's been a while, but it exists still in the depth of his soul.
I'm a young person with an old person heart sometimes, and I just get all crankety and just. Nah, dude, what is wrong with everybody?
It's what they believe people want. Because, like, I think if you look at it now, honestly, a lot of young people they still do, like, face chat all the time. I go to work and I see a couple people, like, on break, like, face chatting. It's like, why do you live with the person? Yeah. Just wait till you get home.
Right.
They're not disappearing. Nobody's going to Thanos snap this dude out of existence.
I know, but there's reasons why Snapchat is dying and stuff like that. Because nobody wants to see you.
And, I mean, they keep getting leaked every 25 minutes for people's nudes and whatnot, so.
Right, well, that too, but. Well, then stop posting your nudes, Xavier.
but Snapchat only lasts for 5. No. God, Snapchat is the worst. we like jumped off topic.
Oh, so hard. I mean, this is the first time we've ever done that. Anyways,
Is it?
You want to go back to what we were originally going to talk about?
What were we originally going to talk about?
We were going to talk about the new Batman stuff that's going on. We have the new Batman, the Twilight character that is going to be the new Batman, and we also have the new Batgirl TV show, Batwoman.
Ruby Rose, you can save this world. Please do it.
Why do you say that?
Because, okay, personally, we have not had a good Batman in quite some time, in my opinion.
Right.
People love Christian Bale as Batman. I do not think he's a good Batman.
I will say this. Christian Bale as Batman is not the best Batman. But the plots in the Batman series, in those Batmans, were more interesting than any of the plots in the other Batmans that came out.
Correct.
And they were also filmed better. Christian Bale may not be the best Batman because his Batman voice.
It's not even that. I just do not like him as Batman.
It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me because it's a compelling story, and the only story that was a little bit of meh was the last one with Bane.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. No, so when it comes to like...
But I thought the first one was really good, and then the second one with the Joker is amazing, and then the third one is...
No, you're right. The Nolan flicks, because they're more centered in reality, it makes it more believable and more relatable for the viewers to reach with the characters.
Right.
It's why everybody and their moms love Heath Ledger as a Joker. I'm not saying that he was a bad Joker. He was an amazing Joker. He's an amazing live-action Joker. But he is now everybody's go-to because they don't know the Joker as a character.
Right.
Right? But they've seen Heath Ledger's Joker. It's like, he's God tier. So now anybody else...
I know. Here's the thing. I'm gonna stop you here.
Okay.
Because we've had this conversation.
This is true. Okay. I'll stay off of it. I'll stay off of it. But regardless, other characters in the movie was really good. Batman is the only one that I did not really enjoy because when I look at Christian Bale, I'm like, that's not Bruce Wayne. That's
he's definitely a Newsies.
What?
Newsy.
Okay.
He's in the movie Newsies.
I don't know what that is, and I don't care. And then we had Batfleck after it, where I felt that he was a decent Bruce Wayne, but of course he's not going to be a better Batman because of Zack Snyder. He kind of ruined the situation for me. When I see Batman actively killing people, you're killing the character.
I'm just saying this. Ben Affleck never should have been chosen.
Who could have been Batman in that?
Well, that's the thing is that I've come to the conclusion of, like, nobody's going to be happy with whoever is going to be Batman. And I am going to actually defend the Twilight character.
Oh my god.
Because he originally was in Twilight. I got it. Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with that. I think he's a terrible actor.
Yeah, but he's done some stuff where he's decent. Like in Harry Potter. He was decent in Harry Potter.
I forgot that he was even in that movie.
Right, exactly.
That's not what you want.
No, but it's because you forgot who he was. He actually took that character on. And you actually enjoyed his character.
No.
As the upper person to Harry Potter that helped him through his journey.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. He was the one. Sure? He was the one that put Harry Potter on the Quidditch team. He also...
what?
Is it Quidditch? Quidditch. Quidditch.
Quidditch. It's D's, not B's.
Oh, okay. Anyway, Quidditch team.
Yeah.
Quidditch?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. He's the one... I don't know. I like the Harry Potter movies. I don't do verbiage well.
Clearly.
Double doors.
Oh, okay, no. So
he also was at the very the Goblet of Fire. He's the one that was with him at the very end, and the bad guy kills him, or whatever. There's been movies that he's in that are good. From where he was to where he is now, he is definitely not what's his name from Star Wars.
That is not even remotely
Hayden Christensen's son.
Okay.
Sins.
Okay.
So, what I'm saying is there's also rumors that they're talking about doing the Batman Beyond with it. Yeah, see those eyes? And bringing back...
these are eyes of fear.
So, he would be the younger Batman.
No!
And then... Because he's only 30...
I don't care.
33 or something like that?
I don't care. If he ruins Terry McGinnis for me, I will be so done.
Who is the first Batman in the movie series?
In the movie series, Michael Keaton?
Yeah, they're talking about Michael Keaton as Batman. It's rumored. I would be okay with that because it gives an opportunity for something fresh and new. Not saying he's the greatest actor in the world. Actually, when I first heard about it, I was annoyed and I thought this is the worst idea ever besides there being a glittery Batman. But I want to say this also. Nobody out there, whoever you choose, everybody's going to hate as Batman. Is that true?
No, not in my opinion.
Who would you want as Batman?
It's not as who I want as Batman. It's who feels like, that I feel like they can portray the character. Because I feel like that's two different things. Granted, I don't know a lot of actors that could do that.
Right.
Having Michael Keaton return as Batman for a Batman Beyond movie, that's a great idea because we're watching the oldest Batman that we know that wasn't
right.
Adam West on a TV show. Rest in peace, sir.
Right.
Be Batman. That makes sense to me. And I'm super biased.
Right.
Because Terry McGinnis is my favorite Batman.
He is one of my favorite Batmans, too.
And Will Friedle, I think that's his name, the man who voice acted him, he also played Ron Stoppable in Kim Possible. He voices that character so well
right.
that it's like Mark Hamill's Joker.
Yeah, no, it's great.
If he messes this up...
Don't tap on the table.
I'm angry. If he messes this up...
Okay.
Who's directing this movie? Do they have a director?
I don't remember.
If it's anybody related to Zack Snyder, I'm going to burn it.
So, very true. I don't know if they would allow him to touch anything anymore.
They let him do like 4 other movies.
I know. Well, they are probably already signed that to contract. Yeah. Well, because
I'm so mad now.
because Zack Snyder had basically this long drawn out thing that he wanted to do, which was in a short period of time, which ended up ruining everything we know, and that's why nobody wants to touch DC. And DC is just, they have a couple good movies, and then the rest of it is just
stop making movies. Right. Stop it.
You're almost like, should they just scrap everything and just say, hey, we're just starting off with a whole new people?
They absolutely did.
And they should do the Men in Black thing, go bleep bloop.
Because they did the team-up movie before establishing who any of these characters were.
Right.
Because they thought, if we do this, we can catch up tomorrow. No, you can't.
Right. Nobody wants that. Everybody wants a story behind these people.
Yes. Even Thor sucked, but Thor was great in the movies.
Yeah.
Thor 2 sucked. Still great in the team-up movie, even though Avengers 2 sucked. And then we got Thor Ragnarok. It's yes.
Right.
This was the right direction. We know where we are now.
Right.
Guardians was good. I heard Guardians 2 was alright.
It's fun.
I heard the Tom Holland Spider-Mans are okay. Or good, depending on who you are. Cap 1 sucked. Cap 2 was amazing.
Cap 2, the rest of the Captain America movies are good.
Right.
The first one was just, it was a train wreck.
Right. It was just establishing the character.
Right.
Which is completely fine. Iron Man 1, great movie. Iron Man 2, why are we doing this? Iron Man 3, please stop, it's burning. And then, but any subsequent property that included Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man and it made it better.
Right.
You cannot give me Superman, Batman, Justice League. Who are you missing in that scenario?
Right.
But we're going to introduce everybody and then give them their own movies. Who taught you anything about comic books?
Well, obviously, it's Jim from the water cooler. Told them all about.
You're not going to...
See, Jim from the water cooler told me about Spider-Man.
See, this is a perfect segue into the DC Arrowverse because they did it right, in my opinion. Granted, the shows aren't the best.
I mean, before you go straight into this, I had one...
Sorry, I'm Terry McGinnis.
Okay, all right. I had one thought. Since there's been so much fan uproar about whoever people are choosing for whichever acting position nowadays, will it ever get to a point where we, as a group of people, have a chance to live stream auditions and be able to choose the person that we want?
No. Not at all.
Do you think? I think it may come down to that in some times.
No.
In other things, not so much. It doesn't matter. But in certain things where the whole universe erupts and goes crazy, they might want to introduce something like that. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but I can see something like that coming in the future.
I just think that we, people as a species, when it comes to the idea of voting, we can never agree on anything.
Oh, no, we can't.
Right? Because, and then...
I'm just saying somebody's going to do it, and it's going to be an epic failure. But somebody's going to do it.
Yeah. It is what it is. I mean, again, I'm just going to jump into the DC Arrowverse. For instance, we had Brandon Routh as Superman in Superman Returns. You remember that one, right? The one where the famous scene where the bullet shoots and it hits the eye and then doesn't do anything?
Well, first of all, nobody remembers that movie.
Oh, I do.
Second of all, they were supposed to have Nicolas Cage play
We're
Superman.
not going to talk about that. That was in the 90s.
Which, he was going to play that Superman. And, oh man, how bad that movie was, if they would have had Nicolas Cage play Superman, amazing.
No.
Greatest movie of all time.
Not at all. Anyways, he plays a character in the Arrowverse, and he plays that character really well. I like his character as Ray Palmer the Atom. I love his character. Did not like him as Superman. You know, it's like it just depends on how well a person can play the character. Now, when a person like goes up for an audition and they go to the people and say, "All right, you have the look of Johnny so and so, the superhero. You read the lines fine. I think you'll be great." And then you go watch it, and it's like, oh man.
Right, but
if we have the masses agree to vote because they think certain people will be this, it's like, did you ever think that a man named Chadwick Boseman would ever be able to play a decent T'Challa of Wakanda?
Right.
Or did you ever think that Chris Evans, the man who was in Not Another Teen Movie, and Scott Pilgrim versus the World would be the greatest Steve Rogers?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like...
But I think somebody's going to try it and it's going to fail. But at the same time, you could choose the absolute right person for the role, and then the writing
messes it up. You're right.
And then the actor gets blamed for it. Well, you did terrible. I was just basically performing what they wanted me to perform.
Yeah.
In the end, the performer gives the performance that the director wants.
Yeah.
There's a certain point where there's certain people that when they act, they basically go into that role.
Method
actors or whatever.
Asters.
Method actors and stuff, they can go into the role and they create a good character. There's other people that they just switch it on and off. They can do it. Then there's other people, when they act, you're just you acting.
Right.
And you just kind of see right through the whole thing. It's kind of like when I used to have a friend that she did... she was involved with a lot of improv and acting and stuff like that. And every time she went on stage, she put on, like, she would ramp everything up to another level where you're almost annoyed with her because you're just like, you're just acting. I mean, like, you're not playing a part, you're just acting.
Right. No, I hear you. I mean, there are some videos that I watch on YouTube, like, there's a specific group, Polygon. They do the news, but they also have, like, a YouTube channel. And they have a character where a guy kind of, like, explains everything. And he ramps up his step to 11 where he seems annoying, but it's funny. It's like a weird funny annoying. Anyways, before we run out of time, I would like to talk about the DC Arrowverse, if that's possible.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So, during a crossover event, which they did right, by the way, because that's how they do all their things, except for Supergirl. Supergirl just kind of showed up. In this most recent crossover event, which I still have not seen, I need to do that, they brought in Batman.
Can I ask you one thing real quick?
Yo.
I've not seen Supergirl. I've not really ever been interested in her, mostly because the old movies were terrible. Is it a good show or not?
I enjoy it, just for me, because just the interactions that the characters have. Granted, it's not... So, I guess take this in segments. So when Arrow first started out, Arrow was just Batman and Green Arrow's outfit. They made his story and tone a bit more darker, and they just kind of ran with it until they added characters that, like, oh, you got to change your shit.
Right. Like, yeah, the original Arrow was slightly annoying to me sometimes because I was just like, this is just some of the old Batman episodes.
Yeah, it's what it was. And it's a different take on what Oliver Queen was. Like, I personally, every exposure that I've had to Green Arrow / Oliver Queen as the Green Arrow, he's always been this jovial dude with a crazy, like, Robin Hood mustache and beard. So it's like, this is not the Oliver Queen that I know. So when you see this, you're like, okay, it's a little bit more darker. It's like they can't get Batman for anything. So let's just use this as our opportunity.
Right.
And then as the seasons have gone on, it just progressively kind of like gets a little bit worse. And I don't blame the actors. It's the plot beats are the same.
Right.
You know, the villains change. Some of the villains are better than others, but it's essentially like the same story. Right. My city's in danger. Okay, how many times are you guys gonna have Stephen Amell say, "You failed this city"?
Right.
So I get it. I see it. Thank you.
This is one thing I did appreciate about the Arrow show is that the city was in peril and sometimes they failed.
Yeah. the first season they failed.
And that's what I liked about it. Because it was like, every other show, it's just like, oh, we saved the city again, and nobody even knew.
Right. And then, like, they start going, and then they introduce Barry Allen. Grant Gustin as the Flash. Granted, like, the two Flashes that we've gotten so far is that we've had Grant Gustin as Barry Allen.
Right.
And then we had Ezra Miller, is that his name?
Right.
Yeah, as also Barry Allen. Granted,
why is the only villain to Flash somebody that can run fast as the Flash?
Because, well, because I'm not even going to get into that. The Speed Force is crazy magical science energy that it's like, if you think about it as a speedster, if you can see everything at multiple miles, or you can see everything faster than anybody else can do anything, what's the only thing that can stop you?
Karaoke music.
No.
Yeah,
no.
for sure. Have them sing a slow ballad.
Stop. No. So, but yeah, like, Flash is good, but it starts going down the path of where, like, we see Barry Allen as this kind of like, his entire motivation in like the first season was, I'm going to find my mother's killer. Right. I have these powers. I'm going to learn how to use them. It's enjoyable.
Right. Did they solve that too quickly?
No. Okay. Because anybody that's watched The Flash or that's read The Flash knows who killed Barry's mom. Right. And they even make it abundantly clear. The yellow blur killed my mother. Okay. Who's that? It's Eobard Thawne. Okay. But like the way they went around it in terms of like who it is, because I don't know if you watched the first season of The Flash.
I did watch.
Yeah. So like when you find out that spoilers, that what's his name?
Guy with glasses.
Harrison Wells.
Yeah.
Harrison Wells is Eobard Thawne. It's like, That's a good plot twist.
Right.
The man who's helping Barry get faster and learn how to use his powers is the man who he wants to torture for the rest of his life.
Right.
So it's like, oh, that's a good plot twist. You go into the second season, and who was the villain? The second season was Zoom.
Yeah.
That's a good one because then they brought in Jay Garrick, who was like this.
I stopped watching around that because it was like, okay, he battled the Yellow Man, and then all of a sudden there's Zoom, and you're just like, it's too soon for me. I have somebody else in between to break up the monotony of one fast guy versus another fast guy.
It'll always be a speedster. This last season, not the one that's currently, but the season before that, season 4 or 5.
They should all join a football team and just destroy everybody.
Stop it. No. This last season before this recent one did not have a speedster, and the villain, though terrible, was able to stay a step ahead of the entire team.
Right.
But that created problems in character dynamics. Like, when I'm watching it, it's like, okay, so this dude is just powerful. He's stealing bodies because he created bus metas to become a strong super being. That's cool, that's understandable. But when I'm watching Barry not be Barry, it ruins the show for me. I'm watching The Flash to kind of have like this carefree, I mean, like, The Flash is supposed to be jovial and comical.
Right.
He's not. He turns into Oliver Queen. Like, he is brooding and, I have to protect my family. That's smart. Yes, you do. That's your family. Your family knows your secrets. If anybody else knows your secret, you're going to hurt. But you're not acting like Barry Allen.
Right.
And, by the way, I saw the Grant Gustin run. Or not Grant Gustin, but Ezra Miller run from Justice League. Who allowed that to happen? Why is his legs going like this? That's not okay. That's wrong.
Why?
Because it looks like Ezra Miller can't run straight.
He can't.
That's terrible.
He runs at angles. It's not his fault.
Oh, boy. Anyways, but yeah. And then...
He just flails his legs.
And then, so, when they introduced Supergirl, it was like, all right... it's interesting. I watched it because I'm like, it's a DC show. I'm kind of just like, I'm watching it. They bring in Martian Manhunter. They bring in a lot of the superheroes that they couldn't really bring into Arrow or Flash because they're too OP.
Right.
You know, it's like I'm not gonna have Flash fight Red Tornado because it's Red Tornado and he'll destroy you. You can't bring in Metallo because his entire thing is I'm a robot that has kryptonite in my chest.
Right.
You know, you can't have that.
I mean, you can.
You can, but it wouldn't make any sense.
Right, unless Supergirl comes in play.
Exactly, and so the way they work is like, this is an alternate Earth. And Barry Allen accidentally just runs to it one day, and this is after, like, Supergirl's had a couple of episodes to establish herself, you know, and whatnot, and it's like, okay, cool. Her interactions with Grant Gustin as Barry Allen, with Melissa Benoist, I think is her name, as Kara Danvers, or Kara Zor-El, it works, you know. And so it's like the interactions between it. And then when they bring it in for the crossover event where it's like literally all, like everything from Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, and Legends all in one thing, it's like I can see all these characters talking to each other.
Okay. So, where does Batwoman fit into all this?
She is in Supergirl's universe, I think. I have not watched it yet.
Is it out?
Batwoman?
Yeah.
No, it's going to be out in October.
Okay.
Yeah, or this fall. But
I have a few things about the show that drive me crazy.
Question, do you know about Batwoman as a character?
No, I know Batwoman and I know a lot of the other characters. I do know this fact, which is terrible, just mostly because it's never done right. But anytime Batwoman or Batgirl gets introduced into the TV show, movies, or whatever, it kills the show.
Examples.
The original Batman with Adam West did their series for a long period of time. They wanted to get some women viewers involved with it, so they introduced Batgirl
as Barbara Gordon.
As Barbara Gordon or whatever.
Okay.
The season was canceled.
Okay.
The Batman and Robin movie.
The one starring George Clooney.
The one starring George Clooney. That's the one where they introduced Batgirl.
Right.
Immediately killed the movie.
Okay.
Terrible act. A lot of it has to do with writing and
right.
stuff like that. The Batman animated series, the original Batman animated series, had a really long run. Good way, it was a great show. All of a sudden, they introduced Batgirl. Season was canceled. So, yeah.
Okay.
Seriously.
I wouldn't know.
Okay, then they did Batman Beyond, and then Batman Beyond led into also another Batgirl in that.
Which one?
I don't remember her name. I just remember it. I don't remember which episode.
Because there was a Barbara Gordon. Barbara Gordon was the new commissioner, but the Batgirl that I think you're thinking of was Batwoman, and that was in Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, something like that.
It was nowhere related to Batman Beyond.
Okay, so there was. I just remember there was a Batgirl in the show. I don't fully remember, but it was basically canceled right after.
I'm gonna have to fact check you on that.
You can fact check me on that one. That one I'm not as sure about. The other ones I definitely am sure about.
That's fair.
It's just interesting to me. As soon as they introduce that character, something gets canceled.
Well, here's the thing: Batwoman and Batgirl are two different characters,
right?
In terms of Batgirl being Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, James Gordon's daughter, right? And this one is Kate Kane, who is actually Bruce Wayne's cousin, who was in the military,
right?
So, I think that it's going to be fine because
it looks good. It looks good to me. There's a certain things that I am very tired. I'm not even going to go into it because I don't want to get into this discussion right now about a certain characteristic of the Batwoman that just drives me that they do nowadays in order to promote a female badass character that I don't think it is.
I think I know where you're going with it because I'm assuming it's somewhat related to how Captain Marvel is, but the character of Kate Kane has always been like this.
I know, I understand that.
Yeah.
But they don't introduce any sort of female character that doesn't have that trait. And
Supergirl.
No, I know, that's the only one. But what I'm saying is they don't do that in the maleverse. There's no maleverse version of that where, they have
Super macho and can do anything?
Right.
Okay.
So that's what I'm just saying. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to go into it right now. But it kind of drives me crazy that they can't have the standalone character that has that certain property that isn't going either both ways or just one way.
I feel like we're not on the same topic.
I know. So we'll talk about it after.
I think I know what it is now.
Okay.
I understand why. Okay.
Yeah.
You just want to dance around it. All right.
Right. I feel like I don't really want to get into it.
That's
right
fair.
now.
That's fair. No. But no, I'm excited for it because
it looks good.
Batwoman is not a character that has been done too often in media that isn't a cartoon. I think she maybe was in the old Adam West, but other than that, I don't think it's really been anything. And this is a prime opportunity, seeing as how they can never get Batman or Superman to get their own shows because, God, we've tried that a million times. They just ended Gotham, so they're not going to be able to do it like that. And Smallville was forever ago, and whatever. So, and they have Superman in Supergirl. He shows up like season 2,
right?
And he does some things. That's about it. And then this gives a prime opportunity. It's like maybe we can have Batman show up. Maybe there can be there's going to be a World's Finest, that being the moniker of Super and Bat. So I would love to see that be a thing.
Right.
I enjoy. Like I said, Supergirl isn't the best out of the Arrowverse shows. In my opinion, it's still going to be Legends of Tomorrow because Legends doesn't hold back. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
Where Flash, okay, we started one way, now we're acting another way. Arrow is we started one way, we're acting another way. Supergirl it's Supergirl. I'm not going to stop her. She knows what she's going to do, but it just seems like every character is going to be the brooding type. With Arrow ending, it seems like this is the prime opportunity to bring in a Bat character from the Bat family, because the Bat family they're dark.
Right.
So
basically they can continue on the whole Arrow show without Arrow.
Well, Arrow's been going on for like 6 or 7 seasons by this point.
Yeah.
And again, it's tiring. We've seen everything. You've brought in Enemy Archer, then you brought in Slade and Deathstroke, then you bring in, what was season 3? Oh, the League of Assassins, and then you bring in all this extra crap. But this being a new dark show in a different Earth,
right?
It gives it a prime opportunity. Like, let's fix it.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I also think it's funny that all the characters. So like Flash is always batting a Flash. Green Arrow is always firing.
Everybody can use a bow and arrow apparently.
Right. Everybody can use a bow and arrow. For some reason, even like Ant-Man was versed another person that can shrink.
Yeah.
Always against the same thing. How come Batman he's ever going against the same Batman?
He does.
It's rare, though. Like, he has a ton of different characters.
Well,
it seems like all the other people, they're just, like, going against their reverse.
Well,
even Black Panther.
Yeah. Well, because that's the ultimate thing. It's like, who's going to be...
But we got it.
Yeah. This will be the last thing. Like, who's going to be the antithesis? Yeah. To my character.
Right.
I have this character. What if it's an evil version? Why? Because it's the same but different.
Right.
It's like, no. Batman has a giant rogues gallery. There are characters like, especially... Oh, by the way, this gives it the opportunity to introduce the Court of the Owls into the DC Arrowverse, which would be amazing. Anyways, I saw something on the Court of the Owls, like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome. No, but Batman's like, he has multiple enemies that are just like him but different. You have Hush. You have the Joker's essentially that. It's just like, what if Batman snapped, which they made a comic book about, being the Batman who laughs.
Right.
Then you have like the League of Assassins, that being of Ra's al Ghul, because Ra's al Ghul is the same thing. It's like, what if Batman takes it a bit too far and then he thinks that killing is for justice? And then you have
but it's not. Everybody else puts on the same suit and battles the same person.
Sometimes they have different masks.
I know. Sometimes they're different colors.
Yeah.
As Batman is rarely going against another Batman that just has a blue outfit instead of a black outfit.
I don't know. I just don't think... Well, yes, the big bad's always going to be something similar. I mean, Arrow has only had 2 evil archers in its entire run of this.
Right. I just think it's interesting that I was just thinking of that almost every time there's Batman has so many a range of different characters that he battles all the time. Some of them are just absolutely ridiculous.
Polka Dot Man, Calendar Man,
right? The Mad Hatter is Eggman.
No. Eggman?
Yeah.
That's Sonic.
Eggman is actually a
You're lying to me. I'm gonna look it up. You finish your statement.
Anyways, that's basically it. I mean, we got to wrap this thing up. We're long. We're really long. What? Are you gonna look it up real quickly? Do you want to just prove? Because I can't look up anything on my phone right now.
Son of a... He's played by Vincent Price?
Yeah. Welcome to the world of Batman, man.
Can they see this?
I don't know.
Can you...
No, you can't really see it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you're gonna have to put up a picture.
I'll put up a picture.
That does not count. That is 1950s Batman. That's not prime continuity. I don't like losing.
All right, I guess that's how we're gonna end this episode.
Yeah.
Xavier doesn't like losing.
No.
I don't like winning all the time, but I do it.
You don't.
And
you actually don't. You're just put in your own headspace that you win all the time.
I'm just. It's shocking to me how much I win. And I'm right. Just remember that. I'm right because Jim at the water cooler is right.
You're the reason why there's no Halo for the Xbox.
All right, goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nailed It Podcast. If you like it, please subscribe to all our social media. Our Facebook is at the Nailed It Podcast. Our Twitter is the Nailed It Pod. Also look for us on Patreon. Thank you for listening.